Dominance training is a much more forceful way to train a dog, and it's actually trying to get the dog to behave using punitive measures. The root of aggressive behavior is insecurity. So by punishing aggressive behavior, you're fighting fire with fire. You're making the dog more insecure and more aggressive. This is insane. This is not good.
All right, maybe you've dealt with that as well. I know our dog trainer has dealt with that firsthand. Her name's Victoria Stillwell. She was hosting the show on Animal Planet, It's Me or the Dog, and she's had some great tips for us. She's with us now with one of our producer, Hannah's dog, Angelina. So, well, let's start with what we just saw, and I know we're being, Angelina's so sweet. What about that? I mean, that's what you do with a lot, right? The unruly dog, and then Absolutely. It seems like the owner's is just as out of control as the dog.
It is. I always say training is 80% owner, 20% dog. But these dogs are really insecure, so we've got to teach them how to cope in society.
Okay, so, and we're going to get through your tips and answer a lot of questions. Again, you guys are tweeting us questions as well. But talk about positive versus negative. Because a lot of old school people, it's like if the dog pees, you're rubbing their nose in it, you're spanking, you're yelling. And why not that?
It's so sad, and it's such a tragedy, especially in this country where there's whole big emphasis on dominating your dog into submission in order to get it to behave. But I work with dogs of all breeds, all kinds, all different behavioral issues, and you just do it with positive reinforcement. You really change the way a dog feels and a dog behaves, and you also give positive reward to the dog's motivated to learn.
Okay, let's work with Angelina here, who's very sweet, but is on the other side, a little on the timid side.
Yeah,
so
she is.
If Hannah says, Victoria, I need some help, I want to make sure she's more comfortable and not as timid. How do you establish a relationship and get Angelina more comfortable?
If I was working with her, I would find out what motivates her most. Is it food? Is it toys, praise, play? And then I would just start playing with her. Because a lot of trainers are very, very serious, but training is all about play and fun. These dogs, they're young. They kind of stay baby-like all their lives. So just to be able to play and have fun and learn whilst they do it, that's how I would treat her.
My dog, who I could not bring, and I know this is a problem a lot of you have, he's a boy, his name's Jack. Love him, but he's a peer. He likes to mark his turf even inside the house. What am I going to do about that now?
I always say typical male, like to mark their territory. I have to say, that's a big issue, and it's a really difficult problem. You have to supervise them all the time. And take them out on a lot of walks, because if they have the opportunity to mark other areas, they're less likely to mark in your home.
Okay. So, and he does that. When we're outside, every tree, oh my gosh, a one-block walk
So the
takes
more
forever.
varied you can make the walks, the better.
Okay. I want to hit some more of your tips. Think like a dog is one on your top 5 list. Hit that one real quick for us.
Yeah, really, find from your dog's perspective. So I would find out, what is Angelina's perspective? How does she see the world? How does she think? How does she problem solve? How does she learn? Modern behavioral science is teaching us so much about what goes on inside the dog.
How she learns?
Oh, well, we know. I mean, for example, I know from her tail wag, she actually wags her tail more to the right than she does to the left. And when you wag your tail, when a dog wags the tail more to the right, they have more positive feelings. When they wag the tail to the left, there's more negative feelings. And she can see her owner, her producer,
that's why she's all happy to see
there.
Hannah.
So that's why her tail's wagging more to the right, because she's feeling positive about seeing her now.
Okay, again, your questions, you're tweeting them to me, at Michaelanos HLN. More of your great questions, more of your great tips, and more with Angelina coming up. And that's right after the break. But first most Americans, as we find, will never wear a military uniform, but we can make a difference for those who have. Emmy Award-winning actor Gary Sinise is on a mission to do just that. CNN's Chris Cuomo explains how Sinise and his iconic character, Lieutenant Dan, are impacting the world of our veterans.
Thought I'd try out my sea legs.
Well, you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
Long before Gary Sinise played Vietnam veteran Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump, he was a passionate supporter of the military.
Well, I have a long history with working with veterans, starting with the relationships that I have in my own personal family. My dad was served in the Navy. My 2 uncles were in World War II. My grandfather served in World War I.
With the success of Forrest Gump, wounded veterans began to identify with Sinise.
How many veterans we got here tonight?
He formed the Lieutenant Dan Band and has entertained troops around the world with the USO. The actor says his call to action became very clear after 9/11.
When our men and women started deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan, they started getting hurt and killed. Having Vietnam veterans in my family, it was very troubling to think that our men and women would come home to a nation that didn't appreciate them.
See you out there.
So he started his own charity dedicated to veterans. The Gary Sinise Foundation helps build customized homes for the severely wounded and helps vets find civilian careers.
I have met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wounded veterans who continue to not let their circumstance get them down. Countless Lieutenant Dans out there that inspire me every day.
Welcome back. All right, we are here with Angelina. That's Hannah's dog, one of our producers, and Victoria Stillwell here, who's a dog trainer, and she was a host of the show on Animal Planet, It's Me or the Dog. And again, we love our pooches. We're basically paying tribute to our doggies all week long, and we're taking your questions with Victoria. Let's get right to it. There's some really good ones and some common ones a lot of people have. This one coming to us from Molly. How do I get my sweet pup, Zelda, to stop tugging during walks? Dogs want to lead the show.
Well,
on a walk, right? And why is that bad? Go ahead.
Well, you know, in a way, dogs just, you know, they've got 4 legs and we've got 2, so their pace is naturally faster. So it's not like they want to be alpha top dog or anything when they pull. They're just excited to get to where they want to go, except they can't because they've got this leash stopping them from acting naturally. So what I do is that I never allow the dog to get to where it wants to go whilst it's pulling. But if it stops pulling, then it's allowed to get to where it wants to go.
Is it a dominant thing that they want to lead and be?
No,
it's not.
But they've got 4 legs, you've got 2.
So that's it.
Their pace is faster than yours. So this whole idea that the dog is leading you because it wants to be dominant is just a myth. But I just teach the dog, if you want to get somewhere, you're going to have to stop pulling on the leash. And if they do pull, I just go in the other direction.
Okay.
So we just keep turning round and round until they stop pulling on the leash.
Okay, and Angelina really wants to get to Hannah. But just a second ago, Angelina rolled on her back.
Yes.
Was kind of, and she really wants to get to Hannah. What does that mean, rolling on the back? I always thought that meant, I'm submissive, pet my tummy.
Well, you know what? It is a gesture, and if it's done with, if it's your own dog that rolls on its back and you pet it, that's fine. But if it's a new dog like this one that we don't know very well, and she goes on her back, don't pet the stomach, because it can be what we call a cut-off signal, which means, please don't come anywhere near me. That's the confusion.
Gosh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get another question. Trista, how can I teach my 2 dogs to stop begging whenever someone is in the house eating? The begging.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, dogs
especially
are
when they're big
opportunists.
ones.
You know, dogs are opportunists, and when they see food, of course, they want to have it. And I really do believe that our human food smells nicer to a dog than their own food. So really, it is just to say, either if you're sitting at a table, either have an imaginary line, get the dogs to stay behind that line, and that's just teaching them good impulse control, or just put them in a separate room, maybe with a baby gate, so they just don't have that temptation.
Okay, Michelle's got a question about jumping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
How do you stop the jumping?
Normally, when dogs jump up, people will say down or stop or off, but actually that's reinforcing. You're still giving negative reinforcement, but it's still reinforcing the negative behavior. So therefore, what you do is you just turn your back. Don't reward the dog at all for barking. Only reward the dog when it's got 4 on the floor. So if you ignore the dog when it's jumping up, then but you only give it attention when it's got 4 on the floor, that means the dog goes, oh, I only get attention when I'm not jumping.
Okay. We had, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, we had this, and this I think will be our last question, and this comes to us from Delinda, I believe, and we had the same thing. The lonely dog, because we had our Chloe, and she would howl. Yeah. So we got Jack, and then we have 2 dogs, and I think that, but not everybody can get another dog. What do you do about the lonely pooch?
There was recently a study done where about 80% of dogs suffer with some kind of separation anxiety, and some more than others, but really it's just teaching a dog to be independent, that you can cope when I'm away. There are things that you can do. There's a great thing called dog TV that you can buy, you can get for your dog.
You believe in that?
Absolutely,
okay.
I do. It's brilliant. And also calming music, leaving your dog with lovely toys that they like. And of course, getting a doggy daycare, or a dog walker to come and walk your dog during the middle of the day. That's if you're working all day. But for chronic separation anxiety, do get a trainer in to come and help you, because it's a really bad issue.
Okay. Great stuff. I wish you could probably stay another hour and take everybody's questions.
You.
What's your name of your book again?
My name is Train Your Dog Positively.
Okay. And we've done that today. I hope everybody has learned a lot. Angelina did great. Hannah, thank you for letting us borrow Angelina for a moment. And again, great stuff, Victoria. Thanks so much. Much more news now coming up. Keep it right here. Angelina, you going to stay?
She did so well.